Sponsored by Sammy of Bull Pythons. Look for them at your local shows in their patented pink shirt.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Episode 86, everybody. We got a show sponsor, our first show sponsor with, Sammy from Bull Python. So I had to throw something up at the beginning of it just to be like, yay, cool. So if anyone's interested, DM me. We'll work something out. Get right into the joke of the day. Pretty funny one. Told Stan backstage. We thought it was appropriate enough for the show. But why don't vegans moan during sex? Because they don't want everyone to know that they're enjoying a piece of meat. Yes. Shout out to all the sponsors to the show: Chris from BNS, Coco to Go, Big D's Python, Static Morse, the Chipper 217 Pythons, RGI. We appreciate you guys.
What's
Stan doing back there? What's up, Stan?
What up? What's going on, everybody out in chat? Good, man. Good. It's October. Support
Right on.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month,
Guys.
Early detection saves lives, baby.
Save
Big
them.
shout out to Lady Tiz, too.
Right on. Love the work that woman does. We'll get Jared out here. That's tonight's guest for the show, Jared from Selective Creations. How's it going, dude?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing tonight?
What's good, Jared?
How's it going, Stan and Ken?
Seems like Daytona was a week ago. Damn, bruh.
Man, I wish it was
Man,
next
it don't
week.
seem like Daytona was all that long ago.
Yeah, that was a great time. It was good meeting you guys there.
Had a blast.
You didn't have no neck cramps from sleeping out on that lawn furniture?
Nah, that was actually pretty relaxing.
Right on.
Dan, nice weather.
If it was cold, then it would be a different story.
You want me to hit up the chat? All right, let me see.
If you don't mind, please. I do got the mouse working.
Bam! First one in the house. We got James Perry. What's good, James?
What's up, James? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate the support.
We got the old Pink Panther.
Sammy
himself.
Appreciate
Mr.
you, brother.
MIP. We got Will in the house.
Mr. Will.
What up, Will? Another sponsor to the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got the Dead Man. What up, brother Vance?
What
I'm
up,
just
dude?
kind of skipping over some real quick. We got the brother Jay in the building.
Brother Jay.
What's good, Jay?
What up, dude?
Thanks for stopping out. Appreciate it. We got Brave.
What up, Brave?
What's good, Brave? Thanks for stopping out, bro.
Thanks for coming in.
We got the crazy
What up,
man
Will?
Will in the house.
Well, we're still on old format for a little bit yet, but the new format's coming. It's in the works. I'm a little faster than you, because you said you were going to produce a show and we're still waiting on it. But I'm not that slow. I mean, it's going to be maybe 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. So chill out. It's coming. Sometime in November.
Jeez, settle it down, Ken.
Well, you got to be a dick to Will because he's a dick to everyone. So you just got to be a dick back.
Be nice, yeah.
Don't be a dick. Yeah, we shouldn't.
Tommy, brother Tommy in the building.
Okay, back to not being a dick.
What's good, RO? Oh, Ro himself. You know it. Oh, you got your favorite one here. We got the other Will in the building. We got all three Will. I think all three Wills are in the building tonight.
Yeah, we do got all three.
I wonder if we'll see all three James.
Uh-oh.
What's up, Crystal? She was this month's winner of the shed test from RGI. Appreciate you.
We got Josh.
What up, Josh?
Over there, Sundog Serpents. What's good,
What's up,
Jamie?
I'll be
Hey,
heading out
Jamie.
to meet up with Jamie tomorrow.
Jamie's
I'm
mad. He's
taking
waiting.
probably 2 girls that he's going to work into the Mandarin project. So
Nice.
I'm excited for that.
Jamie's got a
What's
girl
up?
coming from me next week because I'm finally settled as of yesterday. So we agreed
Well,
next week I'll ship her.
We figured out it was cheaper for both of us just to drive if we both had 3 hours of time, because he's about 6 hours from me. And I was like, well, shit, I'll just jump on 80 and drive for 3 hours. I've got to be, at least almost halfway there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Stop and
we'll
grab
meet up
something
tomorrow
to eat and
sometime.
talk snakes.
We got the Australian brother in the house. Oh, Chris. What up, Chris?
Good day, Fries.
Over there, Fries.
Santos. What up, dude?
What's
Hey,
good, Santos?
Start calling him steak sauce. What's up, Mariah?
What's good, Mariah? Old A1 over there.
A1.
Guy's got total jokes now, doesn't he, everybody? Guy got jokes for days.
I mean, that stuff's made of like Orangeville. We call him Orangeville.
I think that might. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. My bad. We got little sis Casey in the house.
Little sis Casey in the house. What up? How you doing?
I'm just kind of skipping over some that we've already shouted out. We got Rob over there at Barnes Family.
What up, Rob?
It's good, Rob.
Thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna show some good stuff off, that's for sure.
Wow.
Talk some good projects.
Heck yeah.
Oh. Lies, what's good, bro? What's cracking? I think he might have just shouted us out on IG, as he always does.
I was gonna say, Elias always be shouting us out.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Oh, we got the brother Kike in the building.
Oh, sir.
That's what's up. Positive vibes to you, my brother. All day, every day.
As always, good vibes sent that man's way.
Oh, I think. Uh-oh. This must be for you.
Well, I could take criticism. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I thought it was going to be a funny show. I wanted it. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I wanted to see it. You could just do one episode on meat, you know.
Will got everybody pumped up and then shot everybody down with the old My Garbage podcast.
Right.
He's talking about
we caught up in chat.
There's Eric's More Factory. Seeing you flash him. What's up, dude? So Jarrett, what's up, dude? Like, tell us about yourself. How long you've been doing this? Like, what are some of the projects you're really excited about coming up this year? Like, just in general, what's an elevator pitch for you?
Well, generally, you can say I'm new to developing a business and investing and breeding designer stuff. But the first time that I ever bred ball pythons, I was like 11 years old. I got eggs when I was 12, and those were just some normals. But that was back in that was 2000 and 2001. So I was into it back then, just wishing and dreaming as a kid and watching everything, really diving in. It really grabbed me young. And the albino was the first one that I saw because that was about the only thing that was around in the early 90s. But then pastel and hypo and the spider and all that started coming out. And that's around the time after that I really paid attention to it. So like I saw the bumblebees, and those were $50,000, and
Crazy.
you know, the albino spiders, I saw those when those first came out, and the caramel glows, like all those mutation combos early on, I saw come to the market. So like I was just fully into it. I was a kid, and those were my Pokemon cards basically, and I couldn't get them, and it made me want them that much more. So I always dreamt of doing something that involved like ball pythons and snakes and reptiles, and in general were always my thing. Just I was born with it. So going out hunting
Right on.
salamanders and frogs, and it all just developed, you know, naturally.
Right on. Like, so right now, do you only have ball pythons, or do you have a couple different species?
No, I'm a snake guy, so I mainly stick with the snakes. I was more into frogs and lizards when I was younger, but I have I have boas, I have BCIs and BCCs. I
Right.
have yellowtail crebo, I have green tree pythons, and then I have the ball pythons, and then I also have a collared lizard, eastern collared lizard, just as a little pet because they're always only at the zoos, and I was like, I want one of those for my house.
Right. That'd be cool. Hell yeah. Is there anything that you're excited about? Like, like what are you most excited for in the next season? Like, and could we see it? Like, could you show it off?
So this season, I'm mostly excited for a joint pairing that I'm waiting to cut 6 eggs with Shannon of Green Dragon Brokers.
Right on.
I don't have any. Well, that's, you know, the past season. I guess we're coming into a new season now, but that's all we have right now. Waiting on, but I'm starting to put together some of like my son's
Hey, sir.
pairings, and some just like preliminary stuff, I guess you would call it. Stuff that I just want to hopefully hit some animals to hold back, and it's kind of just to get my son more involved because like one of the females is his, and she's just a head clown so that he can experience a normal female giving, you know, basically reproducing a bunch of different stuff that doesn't look like her. And I had her going to the vanilla disco spot nose, and she het clown male.
Right.
And so just to give him some variety in his pairing, and then anything that we produce from any of those pairings are more geared towards him selling at a table at a show. So we don't want them to cost extravagant amounts of money.
Right.
Just for fun for right now. He's got bigger pairings, but that's just to get his feet wet, you know? So my pairings though are they're coming up. I got a really big female clown, double het hypo G stripe,
No,
and I'm gonna be pairing her. It's a tough call. The only one I think is ready is gonna be my quad het, hypo ultramel clown pied.
nice.
So not going for the G stripe stuff out of her with that pairing potentially, and not really going too deep or giving myself great odds on that pairing. But really, when I first got her, the idea was to put her to my 5 gene triple het male for Hypo DG Clown, and he's just not big enough yet. So I might just even give her the year off and wait until he's ready next year. But that's a pairing that I am really excited about. Is he's black pastel, blackhead leopard, chocolate, redhead,
Nice.
possible
Cool.
redhead, and he's triple het hypo DG clown. So breeding him with her, I should get hopefully double visual combos. At least that's what I'll be shooting for. And everything will be chocolate or blackhead. So
Yeah.
I'm
Chances are
guaranteeing
leave it.
that.
Yep.
And it would be, you know, 1 and 2 on each egg for visual clown, and then 1 and 4. So you'd have like a 1 and 8 for double visuals.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad odds. That's kind of what I'm working on doing now. Is getting my double visuals to visual het to visual het. You know, the opposite
Mhm.
visual het. So I got the maximum chances of hitting, the combos. And
Yeah, you
I
can
mean,
get the 1 and 2.
yeah, I'm trying to do allelics too. Like there's a lot of allelic combos and I'm working in it. So,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
speaking, you said something to Spider earlier, and I was on Blue Zombies podcast, and Derek, one of the sponsors from Big D's Pythons and Geckos, was talking about that. Well, actually, someone said it in the chat, I believe. But that how Spider says has the wobble to it, and it's an ear canal deformity or something to where it causes this. And I didn't know about this, but I guess blackhead. When you get a blackhead spider, it'll take that ear deformity away, but it also takes the pattern of the spider away as well. So I mean, I'd like this. I probably could do it. I don't have spider. It's easy to go get a spider, but I mean that would just be interesting to work to see if you could bring back the spider. Because it's there, you just can't see it because it's masked or whatever.
I haven't had enough experience or any experience with the combo in person myself, but I would assume that it would have a potential to have wobble, even though even though it normalizes the pattern. I'm not so positive myself about it normalizing the ear canal. So I'm not sure if it actually takes away the possibility of wobble, but I do know it normalizes the pattern for sure. It's where you can't even tell it's a spider. And on your point of is that workable, it almost gives a different realm if you wanted to take the risk and work that project of the risk more of it being workable in other genes and other mutation pattern changers and stuff like that. It could be worth it. It could
Right.
be worth it, but at the same time, you're limiting yourself on the market because the spider's in there. So that's where it's a bigger risk.
So Will says from Will's Halley Heat that chocolate also does that, he thinks. John from Warforge, what's up, dude? He stopped chimed in and said blackhead can help level it out.
What's good,
Doesn't
John?
alleviate it, but it does in some pairs. And
Okay.
then Sundog, old buddies from down there at Sundog, they said in our experience, bongo works as well. So that's pretty cool. Like I mean,
And those are all allelic combos too. So
yeah. I always kind of stayed away from spider because of it, but I mean that whole complex is just fire, like all of it. I love it all. I mean, I even like Spider Woma and Hidden Gene Woma, but they're the ones that have the biggest problems. But I mean, it makes me actually want to go get a female now and just work it. You know what I mean? Because I do like the patterns, and yeah, I might be limiting the market, but it's not in a male polluting everything.
It limits your market though on the high end, because if you talk to people at shows that 80% of their sales are going to be to people just coming through the door with kids or just coming to check out a show. They're going to be going for the brighter, prettier snakes. They're not going to be going for the really expensive ones. So there's a market for them for sure. And I personally, um, people can say what they want. I'm not gonna breed a ton of spider or nothing like that. But spider was my first morph that I was able to afford. That was literally my first morph. I loved it when I was younger. It was the foundation block of our industry, in my opinion, because the bumblebee was mind blowing at the time. Nobody could believe that that was a ball python, let alone a snake. So to discredit spider so much just because it has a little bit of a ear canal deformity and wobble that varies between each animal. Yeah, it limits the market. Yeah, if you're a high-end breeder and you're not targeting, you know, pet quality animals for shows, then don't breed that stuff. But I have a Spider Fire TSK Xanthic I got from Josh, and I got that animal simply because I wanted an animal that reminded me of this nostalgia of having my first ball python.
Right.
So I'm going to breed her because I want to make some zebra bees with my son. Is there a problem with that? No. If someone has a problem with it, don't buy those animals, you know. That's all.
Right.
That's really my opinion. Just don't buy the animals you don't like. Yeah, there are animals that you shouldn't breed, but I don't personally believe spider is one of them. I just think that there's more
What
of
up,
like
John?
there's oh, what's up? What's up,
What's up,
John?
Mission?
I just think that there's more of like a what's the word for it? Like a hex on you if you do stuff like that. And it's just wrong to be to put it simple. Like if somebody's out there breeding a ton of spiders, like I saw one post where a guy was saving a couple spider babies from somebody that had an adult spider, produced a clutch from them, and was going to freeze off the baby spiders that he produced because he didn't want to sell them or work with them or whatever. So they saved them and took them for free. Now, if you're that type of breeder, just get out. Plain and
Right.
simple. If you're going to breed something that you have in your collection and then kill it off in the babies, just get out. But there's nothing wrong with producing animals that you enjoy. And I personally enjoy the spider enough that I'm going to breed one female.
Right. In that conversation that we was talking about, they was saying jaguar, you know, like, and that's a pretty expensive gene. Jaguar is doing some of the similar things, you know, as spider with the wobble and stuff, but you
Oh, is
don't
it?
hear that, you know, as you know, it's not obvious out there. Like spider has a wobble is one of the first things you hear. You
Mm.
don't do spider to spider. I know someone who has a super cypress that has a wobble. I mean, like some super blackheads can, I heard. That's why I was so surprised when someone said, well, if you put blackhead and then you're hearing chocolate and then you're hearing bongo, you're hearing all these allelic combos with spider that kind of takes that away. But yet, you know, super bongos, people say it has a slight wobble. You know, like the supers in that complex, when you make them, that's just, I don't know. The whole thing's a little weird to me. There's got to be something that we're missing there in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, just in the complex alone, like that's one of my favorite complexes as far as blackhead
Absolutely.
and chocolate and spot nose. I think that it's the most popular complex that there is. So for everybody to be like, I hate snakes with wobbles, you know, get over it. That's the
Powerballs
best
have wobbles,
complex out
and
there.
I'm going to be making Powerball sooner or later because have you ever seen an ugly Powerball?
Oh, I love Powerballs. I've loved them since they first were made. I can't remember the year. I want to guess and say it was like 2010 or something like that, around that time. But God, Powerballs got me from day one. I desired less and less and less to produce them as the time went on, and I watched them and people talking about how they had severe wobble and this and that. But I saw the animals that Billy and Don Rice produced, and those Powerballs. They had one that had a decent little wobble, but the other two animals were pretty okay. I mean, I wouldn't say that they had anything noticeable when you were handling them, but if you were going to feed them, they probably definitely would have something.
Right. Well, we're at 20, so you know all that means. And just because I'm in a good mood, you guys shake it down.
All right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, do it.
That was a little Daytona action with me and Josh and Sundog, of course. Belly
What
Brothers
up,
and that.
Tom?
What's up, Tom?
So yeah,
Now that
I
you're
mean,
scarred,
on the whole topic of that stuff, like the spider and stuff, it's like I'm gonna breed her for a year. She'll probably retire after that as a pet. I'll probably produce a zebra bee to hold back and keep for myself and something that my son wants to keep. and that's going to be about it. I'm not going to breed a ton of them. I don't really find it ethical to flood the market with a morph that people see as less desirable for, reasons that they want to argue. So we have to not always feed into that, because it also steers the new people away from those markets, those mutations. And those mutations are what's going to bring a lot of those people in. Like, I'd say over 50% of those people come in and they see spiders and pastel spiders and spider combos, and they're like, wow, what is this? And that's what sparks the conversation and an interest. And then they go down the rabbit hole. It's typically not your, I have a Cypress Krypton that I think is awesome that I just got today. But if somebody walked into a show and they saw it next to a pastel fire spider, they would buy that first.
Right, yeah. Especially with some orange dream in there, getting them yellows orange, yeah. They are pretty beautiful snakes. But I mean, I just thought it was interesting that, like I said, like if you put the supers together in that complex, like they're known to have a wobble every once in a while. But if you put it to Spider, the worst known one out of them all, it evens it out. It's just weird. It's just weird. You want to show anything?
Well, let's see.
We like show and tell. Show us some stuff.
I'll show the guy that I just was talking about that I got today. He is over here.
Blow you up. Ooh. That needs some TG in it.
So this is a Cypress Krypton head Ultramel.
Ooh.
And this is my first entry into the Krypton game. I think that Kryptons are going to be real important for shows coming soon over the next probably. I mean, they're probably going to become the staple of shows over time.
I mean, what's interesting about them is they have their own look, but they can make clowns as well.
Mm-hmm. They're not too hard to make, Kryptons,
yeah.
They're double hits. And then you can get the cryptics and the clowns to make more. I know some people are working cryptic and Krypton directions versus the clown directions, but I think that these are really gonna take over the market as far as production and variety. And I think that when the cost of the really nice ones starts to come down, because we're getting into deeper projects with them, and there's just going to be a lot more, I think, because a lot more people are starting to produce them. So I really see them becoming a staple at shows. And that's why I wanted to get into them now instead of later.
What up, Lakers? Right.
So Ultramel Krypton stuff coming next year, hopefully.
I'm definitely an Ultramel fan. And
no, this is
people say, Ultramel or Monarch, and it's like, you got to choose one. And it's like, no, I refuse. I like both. I like Ultramel and Monarch. Why choose?
Yeah. So that's a new boy. And I actually got him from the Canova VIP giveaways.
Nice.
So I joined there for like a month, and I was able to get one of the giveaways. So this was one.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's where I got him. If anyone's going to the VIP this weekend, I'm gonna be there. So let's see.
I wish Caramel
Will
issues, because I've seen some caramel animals that just are breathtaking.
You just gotta you just gotta produce what you like, and if you produce caramel females that are deep genetically, you sell them as more of a high-end pet, obviously.
Right.
Not crazy price tags like if you had a male with the genetics that you could breed, but I feel like feel like it's almost unfair to those mutations that the females can't reproduce, like desert and caramel. And I mean, those are two that I can really think of off the top of my head right now. But how desirable both of those things were, both of those mutations were at the time, it almost baffles me that it dropped the actual value of the morph instead of increasing the value of the morph at the time, because now you have these really deep genetic females that you can't raise up. So now you're creating back then these crazy animals nobody's seen before, but only the males are reproducing. I know that in the beginning there was a lot of back and forth trying to sweep it under the rug with the breeders that kind of knew about it, like, well, we don't really know, but we know, so let's wait and see type of deal. And it was like they pretty much knew, but they wanted to test it out and still get their money from the projects, is what I got from it. So people were selling these males and females for crazy prices until they caught on that, all right, these females can't produce, and they really can't produce. And I think it was 2015 that Justin actually had raised up a female desert enchi for, God, I think it was 6 years to get her up over over 3,000 grams, around 3,000 grams, because they thought, well, maybe it's a size thing. Maybe if we get them big enough, then they can reproduce. And that was the last trial with desert females. He couldn't get her to reproduce. He took her to the vet. The vet cut her open, saved her life, obviously, but they found that she had no connection to where the eggs from the ova to the actual birth canal. There was no connection in the tube. So she could never lay those eggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Neat.
You
Learned
can
something
actually
today.
still Google probably that in his records and his archives.
Right. So, like with genes like that, like I mean, desert, that's considered a what, a codom. So, like if you get a female desert, you there's just nothing you could do with. But like
Yep.
with the caramel albinos, you could get het caramel albino females and work it with the male, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can get eggs from the het females, not the visuals. You could get eggs from the females, but you know, the viability of them was never there. People claim to have hatched eggs from like a 1 or 2 viable egg clutch from caramel female visuals. I've never seen the proof, so I don't believe it until I see it. It's been 20 years plus, so I know that a lot of people are making a lot of innovations with the caramel project overseas. I've seen some really cool stuff over there in the UK and stuff, but they obviously know that they can't sell the project for crazy amounts because the females aren't viable, and it's only going to be a niche project where only a certain number of people are going to want to try to work it, because then they're giving away animals that they're producing that are females that they can't really, you know, benefit from. So that takes interest away from a project, which is why it devalues.
Right. I get that, but I mean, wouldn't the rarity of the animal make it worth more, though? I mean,
Yeah.
because that's kind of how these genes work. The
Yeah,
rarer
exactly.
it is, like the more it's worth.
And that's what I was getting at.
That's kind of an oxymoron there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. I thought it was funny that, you know, the males wouldn't just be worth more money.
Right.
What else you want to show?
I don't know if you
I mean,
can
you
hear
can say
that, but
nothing,
there's a
and we'll
snake
just
over there
keep
taking a
bullshit.
dump.
You're like, I ain't showing shit.
Let's see. Is he still in shed? Let's see. I think he's shed. He's probably still in shed, but he's just not as frosty. So this is a new line of hypo. Well, not a new line, but it's a line. It's called Gray Ghost. And this one here, it's been proven to be compatible with Orange Ghost, but they actually make an intermittent combination, similar to like if you took a Candian albino, you get a Candino. So with the Gray Ghost and the Orange Ghost, you get a Grange Ghost, is what the original breeder called it. But they lost all of their animals in a fire. So unfortunately, to my knowledge, this is one of 2 males that had made it, and he's 66% het clown. But I'm going to show you what he looks like next to an Orange Ghost. Let's see, where is it? This is a kind of extreme Orange Ghost, but oh man, I can't even show it to you with that. He's deep in shed. Let's see.
See, my Orange Ghosts look pretty cool in shed. They look like blue. Like they almost look like they should be called blue ghosts in shed.
That one is blue. That's why I can't use it as a comparison, because normally he's orange. Let's see. This one will be all right. Whoops.
That's one thing. That's another thing I like about Orange Ghost. You don't lose them oranges as they get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Gray Ghost actually loses this color palette. It's already starting to lose it in some of the scales. But so
yeah, there's a difference, a big difference.
So this is Orange Ghost, and this is Gray Ghost. So the Gray Ghost also has less pattern influence. It doesn't really have much pattern influence as compared to like the Orange Ghost. We all know has a lot of pattern influence. This is actually from Josh and Sarah. It's a Dinker gene. So you see the spots on the back of the head.
Yeah. Huh.
So they have a whole clutch of these really weird babies. And they almost look chocolatey, but they're not chocolatey. And they got kind of this red head stamps. And we traced it
on the back of the head.
Yeah, so we traced this Dinker gene back through FNA to Ozzy and Tom Barnhart. So it was it was originally from a black pastel Dinker that Ozzy imported from Outback, and Ozzy's been working it lightly, but now he's starting to release a lot of it because he's just trying to get more hands on it, I guess.
See, I got a black pastel line to where like half of the babies get them horns on the back of their head. It happened in 2 different clutches. And it's coming from a black pastel. Wonder if we could trace it back to Ozzy.
I don't know. Maybe you got something.
Town,
you see how this line also puts these real fat circles on the dorsal pattern? That's consistent even in the hets, even in the het Gray Ghosts.
Huh.
Those real fat circles.
That's wicked.
So
that's kind of
if anybody wants more information and pictures of adults, I'll be happy to show them. Just message me. But it'll be a while before I actually start getting anything from that project, because that male still has a few 100 grams to go before he's the next season. But with him, I'll probably be going for some double and triple hets, and then multiple codums.
Hell yeah.
I wonder how many other lines of hypo are out there. I mean, like, Derek's got the Blue Ghost, and you could definitely see a difference between like the Orange Ghost that he makes and the Blue Ghost that come out from that. On the camera, you could even see like it was like night and day the way yours was. And it's just interesting that, there's that many different lines of hypo out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
it is
one
a pretty old gene. And I think that's why there's just a lot of lines of it, because it's a really old gene.
I originally there was, I think, 4 lines. I remember there was the Bell line, the Bell hypo. There was the Orange Ghost, and then there was the Nerd Orange Ghost. So Bell, the Nerd line. There was the TSK hypo line. I think that was like the Yellow Ghost or something like that. And then the blue, or no, the Green Ghost. The Green Ghost was an old one, and I don't really know what happened to that one, but I know the
I
Yellow
have some pretty good
Ghost.
stuff.
I know the Yellow Ghost, the Orange Ghost Nerd line, and the Bell line all ended up being Orange Hypo, Orange Ghost. So those have just mixed all together over all these years because everyone started calling them the same thing. Kind of like if we just everybody picked lesser or butter, everything would just mash together and we would never know again. That's what's happened with those
I
hypo
think it's
lines.
210 hypo, Will.
I thought.
Like, do you know anything on that line, the 210 hypo? That's like on Morph Market. It was proven.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
It's just a line that got added to the list of genes on Morph Market. I mean, there's only one person with it, and they're quite expensive animals. So, I mean, I just don't think it's a good sell in today's market. But, I mean, I'd like to see it up against, the other lines, because just like how you could show a difference between the gray and the orange, and Derek showed a difference between the blue and the orange. Like, I just would like to see the difference.
Yeah, and me and Derek have talked because when I got the Gray Ghost, I actually started doing research back into the Blue Ghost because I had remembered it from before where they had like the Blue Ghost pinstripe and stuff like that. But they also had the Slate Ghost at the time, which was another breeder that had discovered that. And they were very similar. So I basically tracked this Blue Ghost through this chain of breeders, and then I lost it. I didn't know who ended up with it. And then Derek came up in chat one day. I was on a live or something, and he came up and he's like, "Yeah, that's me." I was like, Psh. PM'd him, and we just started talking, and I showed him the Gray Ghost, and we started talking about the blue Ghost, and I was like, I really want some Blue Ghost eventually to try to mix it in with the Gray Ghost to see what happens, because that's never been done. But I also learned about a pseudo gene that it's called pseudo, and off the top of my head I can't remember who works with it, but pseudo, when mixed with orange hypo, actually creates an animal that is slate bluish gray.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't remember much about the pseudo, but if you Google it, it'll probably pop up. But that was a very interesting find.
Man, I didn't expect to learn this much tonight. Like, you caught me like with my pants down and learning this shit. Getting the facts out there, and I'm trying to learn.
Good knowledge out there. Learning about the hypos today.
I should have opened my eyes and maybe not took that extra toast before we went on the air.
Well, if Will's correct, and Derek's Blue Ghost isn't compatible to OG, then it would be different from the one back in the day, because the one back in the day was compatible.
Derek's, we know, is compatible. He did say that he is working with RGI. Shout out to RGI, one of the sponsors. Working with them on getting a shed test for Blue Ghost, so maybe we'll learn something about it.
Oh, so he sent it in and it tested negative against hypo.
I'm not sure. I don't want to say something that isn't true.
Oh, okay.
I know he's in talks with RGI. I assume they have some sheds, and if he did say exactly what it came out, I didn't catch it. I had I don't know. It must have been when I got off. If he said something, but I mean,
gotcha.
I mean, of course, reach out to him.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
sure.
I'm just waiting on a couple more sheds, but I'm gonna be sending them in. I only have the one animal, obviously, to send in sheds from, but I'm gonna send in enough so that they can just they can store it and keep it and run whatever tests they need to figure it out. If it comes back, it's going to come back as compatible, so it's going to be in the same gene, it's going to be in the same location, but they can do testing to tell if it's different, just like Wookiee and chocolate or other allelic genes, you know. So
that's one thing that attracted me to Green Ghost, because it's not compatible with anything. Like it's just a different line of hypo that you can't. I mean, now of course I wanted to stack it, but then I talked to a couple people that did it like 20 years ago, and they said you just couldn't tell, what was what. It didn't have a change when you stacked them.
yeah, it didn't have anything. They just looked like orange hypos, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, the Blue Ghost Mark Petros had was compatible. Me and Mark talked for hours. He proved it to be a gene he didn't want to work with because it was compatible and he couldn't reproduce the blues.
Right. So we're getting down there, and we got to ask you at least the one question that we ask everyone: that if you could have a superpower, what would that superpower be?
For me, it would be. That's a good one. A superpower.
There's so many good ones.
That's hard. I think that I would want like foresight. I would want to be able to like tell the future. I wouldn't want to be able to. I would want to be able to control what I would want to tell. You know, I wouldn't want to just have friggin' bunch of flashes and shit like that. But to be like, all right, what's gonna happen here? I wouldn't want to be like. I wouldn't want to use it in my own selfish way. I would want foresight to be able to help other people.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I'd be using it like
I would use it as
20 minutes before the Super Bowl. Okay, who wins the Super Bowl?
Not as a villain power.
putting everything I have on this team, I would definitely be taking advantage of it.
But then you'd be a super villain.
The reward, I would be Robin Hood then, because I wouldn't keep all the reward. I'd be, handing it out.
You'd be robbing.
I can't spend as much money, so I'll hand it to everyone.
Yeah.
So now Will's saying it's not compatible, and you're saying you talked to the guy and you said it was?
Yeah, me and Mark talked. He said it was. He's showed me the pictures of the mixture of the two and everything.
Right.
Hell yeah.
That's what I think's weird. Like they either come out one or the other. Like, from what Derek was saying the other night, you either get orange or blue, and there's really not a mixture of both that you could say, all right, that must be a mixture. There's nothing there that's saying definite 100% that, okay, that must be the mixture because it don't look orange or it don't look blue. You know what I mean?
But if you're breeding blue ghost to orange ghost and you're getting a visual, then they are compatible. But those babies never made any transition to a blue ghost look. So they, to him, were written down just as orange ghost because there was no visible way of telling if they had any blue ghost influence or not. And over time, he ended up getting a couple animals that would exhibit patches of blue scales. And Derek will tell you the same thing. Some of his snakes have just a couple patches of blue scales. But then now Derek is producing animals that are starting to take the overall coloration like the old ones back in the day. And that's why Derek is getting it tested now, because he's getting more closer to actually reproducing the look.
Like rumbling,
right.
But
I mean,
when you do a visual and you
genes,
get visuals, they're compatible.
Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of these genes, I feel, get a certain look from line breeding, basically. If you get, say, this line of stranger that this person worked with for 20 years, or 10 years, or 5 years even, it's going to be a little bit, extra from what this line is over here.
And that's another thing that I was going to make a point about, is that Orange Ghost is a pattern changer. It's a pattern mutator. It's a color influencer. So if you're trying to mix something that influences orange and changes pattern into an animal that has a certain look and a certain color, now you're distorting the color and the pattern of what you're trying to achieve. So maybe him trying to prove that and then work it through the Orange Ghost project was the wrong approach, whereas Derek is now trying to do more line breeding, which is a better approach to trying to reproduce the actual animal's look, because you're not getting influences from the orange hypo line. Even in the hets, hypo has influences.
Right.
And that's another thing that I'm seeing, like line breeding recessive animals, you don't necessarily get the defects as you would line breeding a single codon. Am I correct with that? You walked away a minute, but you know what I mean? Like if you're line breeding a codon, you could come up with eventually having, certain issues. But if you're line breeding a recessive, it don't really give you an issue.
This is single gene clown.
All right. Cool.
It's a single gene clown. Has het hypo influences. It's a pattern mutator. It's also got it's also probably has het G stripe influence, but which is probably the spotting. Het G stripe usually puts these circles in clown. It's one of the markers that some people know about. But if you see, het hypo alone changes this entire snake. It's just a single gene clown. So if you're gonna, that's just me putting a picture to my point that, you're putting orange hypo into a certain look and you're trying to reproduce that look. You're not going to, because you're getting the influences from the hypo.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish there was a way for us to go, okay, that's het clown. Okay, that's het DT. Okay, that, that's het this or het that. And it's too hard to really pinpoint what exact markers say that, but I guarantee there's something that it's like a dead gimme once we know it.
There's indicators. There's never going to be a dead gimme. Like, you can say tracks on het pieds are a dead gimme, but there's ODs. You can just look at a single gene orange dream with no het influence. Orange dream puts a bold black line across the bottom of the whole pattern. So there's het influences that are going to be overpowered by other mutations, or you can think you see them in a snake that doesn't even have a possibility of having it. So I could maybe, I'm just saying off the top of my head, I could probably pull a snake out that doesn't have any het pied but has visible tracks because of the mutation that it is. So they're all indicators, but we have to know where those animals came from to look for the indicators. And a lot of those markers were learned from the single gene recessive mutations. So back when we had just single gene clown stuff all over and just single gene pied stuff all over, that's when a lot of those het markers were discovered. Like, okay, we're seeing a little bit of a longer neck stripe on the ones that are proving to be het clown. We're seeing a little bit brighter coloration on the ones that are proving, a little bit higher whites in the sides of the alien heads on the ones that are proving, and the ones that aren't are just normal, dirtier looking, uglier ones, because these are 50-50, 50% hets. Back in the day when people had to buy a het male to breed to a normal female to produce 50%ers like everybody's doing with Monsoon now. So that's why this is all exciting to me again, though, because there's so many new genetics at play, especially recessives, that it really opened up a whole nother endless galaxy of combos.
I mean, Like pastel. Do you think pastels and everything? I mean, okay, it might be in everything, but do you think it's in every you'll never make every combo with pastel. It's just when you think you add them all, hey, you could add this to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, unless you're making a 256 gene snake or whatever is on there, you're not hitting them all. You know?
Yeah, I think for like a pool of like, I think 30 to 40 different morphs, you have over 1 million different genetic probabilities. So we have many, many years of not hitting everything we can.
Yep.
Many. Right?
But being around for a long time, I tend to know what I want to steer away from, you know, where I watched other breeders, you know, big breeders growing up make the, you know, all white snakes, and these snakes are lethal, and a lot of those are known across the board now. But knowing that, okay, I have this pastel calico something or other that looks awesome, but now if I put cinnamon in there, it's going to blow out the whole back half of the snake. It's going to lose
Right.
all the pattern. Knowing those little things are critical when you're putting together deep genetic projects. Because I can't tell you how many snakes I've seen, and I'm not saying anything disrespectful, I'm just saying a fact, that I've seen like Nerd create that it's like 7, 8 genes, and I'm like, I would never buy that snake. I would never be interested in that snake. The genetics that make it up are probably just going to make more washed out snakes that look like it. So
Right.
I never understood the justification for even the price tags on some of those animals, because you wouldn't even be able to make a pretty snake out of those genetics, in my opinion.
What's up, Keys?
Facts.
But I have an animal that most people can say, and I could even say and agree, yeah, you can make a lesser genetic makeup that looks similar. But I didn't
Right.
buy it because of what it looks like. I bought it because what I can make with it, because the genetics are important in that animal. Like, I know that those genetics, if I put that animal with a snake with 3 different morphs and 2 recessives, I'm going to produce an animal that might have 7 codoms, 2 visuals, and a possible head.
Okay.
But when you hit a point in a project where you're producing an animal with good genetics that dead walls you, you know, you hit a ceiling, like, all right, this animal, it's really pretty, but it's kind of taking away the platform of what I can work with. Now you take all the genetics that makes that snake up and you go, where can I pivot? And you hear Levance talk about pivoting a lot. Pivoting is important to have, because if you don't have a pivot for your project, then you have to invest, then you have to raise up again, then you have to pivot in 2 to 3 years. And then instead of doing that, that's why you see people selling out of projects. Well, this direction didn't work out. I have to wait another 3 years or invest in new genetics. So I'm going to get out.
Right. We're gonna have to give this guy his own segment, like going to school with Jared or something. I mean, wow.
Yeah. So I actually today, before at work, I thought about this and I said, this is literally what makes the most sense of how I've built my collection. And just knowing what I know, I put my foundational genes in my females.
Right.
I want my foundation of my projects in my females, so that I know that they're guaranteeing me what I want to produce. And then I might have another gene or 2 in there. One I might want in the project, one I might not, because I got her a little cheaper or something. Now, yeah, it might take me 4 or 5 years to get that out of that project from what she's producing, but I can hold back an animal, hopefully in 2 seasons, within 2 seasons from her, that I can raise up to replace her by then, 4 seasons from now. So yeah, you're not going to get a certain gene out of a project for years and years. But that's the same with, you're not going to get eggs from a snake for years, you know? So
Right.
I have pastel in projects that I don't mind it in. So that's another thing. Like if you have pastel on a project and you're getting the animal cheaper because of it, make sure it's a project you can work pastel in.
Absolutely.
You know, don't invest with an extra gene that you just can't work and you can't see yourself doing something with. I could produce something out of that project that blows me away. I mean, I'm shooting for animals that I've never seen, and I've been around over 20 years. I've seen a lot, so I'm hoping to hit stuff that if it has pastel in it, it might be the next game changer for pastel. Everybody might want that snake, just like Desert Ghost with pastel. When I saw pastel and Desert Ghost, I was like, I want
Yep.
pastel Desert Ghost.
That's it, right there.
Pastel everything. Not everything, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other gene. It shouldn't be in some places.
Yeah. I mean, the color palette of pastel is what drives the market for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You see too many combos where it browns it out, it lost its value. But you see it in exanthic stuff, it gains value. You see it in DG stuff, it doesn't necessarily, excuse me, it doesn't necessarily gain value, but it actually doesn't hurt the value because it's so pretty. So it's a game of how you want to play your genetics as far as those undesirable or less desirable traits. But I plan on making those in my collection desirable.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're at the hour point. We're going to start shutting things down. So you
No.
want to give the chat a shout out and tell them where they can find you at?
Yeah, so you can find me mainly over on Instagram. I have Facebook, but most of my stuff is just kind of transferred over from Instagram as far as posts and everything. Trying to build a following on Facebook just to get more out there, get more
Right.
exposure. But I have a website. I have to develop it still, but that's selectivecreations.com. And yeah, catch me on Instagram. That's where I do all my updates for right now.
Right on.
And
You're
I have a
welcome
Morph
back
Market
anytime.
store.
I mean, I've enjoyed tonight's show just from, I love learning about these things, and I've learned more tonight than
We didn't
probably
even get to
any
talk
other
about my
episode.
real projects or nothing.
So, yeah, we're going to have to do this again sometime. But Stan, what you got for me, buddy?
You know me, like always, man. Support U.S. Arc, baby, all day.
All day, every
Support
day.
U.S. Arc Florida too, man. If you're not, man, I don't know what you guys are doing. Do the program. Strength the numbers. We need everybody out there.
Stronger
You got
together.
1 animal or 10 animals. Support. They be helping us, so we got to help them.
Yep.
As always, you know, it's October, so Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Early detection saves lives, man. So make sure your ladies get checked, set their appointment.
Save the tatas.
Save the tatas.
Justin, what's up? What you got for me, bud?
Like I tell everybody, keep them heads held high. Everything's just speed bump in the road. Keep on pushing, keep on going. As soon as you bring that head down, it brings you down. So that's all it's going to do is just keep on going. Keep on pushing. Like I tell everybody, enjoy these projects. Have fun.
Exactly.
Go your own route with it, too.
Flipping
Don't
out something out.
There's my outro.
We'll show this.
He said his outro.
Is that VPI, TSK, MJ? What is it?
MJ.
Come
She's
on.
an MJ Xanthic.
I knew
leopard.
that was MJ.
Yeah, MJ Xanthic, leopard pastel, yellow belly.
Come on.
That's nice.
Oh,
now he's bringing out the heat.
So she's gonna end up going to my hypo triple het ultra milk clown pied. I don't know. I'm really undecided. I have so much stuff that I could do with her. I just want a bunch of MJ hets and triple. Honestly, I want to take her into I want to produce quads basically with her. Hopefully double visual, double hets.
Sweet.
Come on.
She's nice. I like how white her eye stripes are. I mean, that is gleaming white. If you ever did any painting, those whites remind me of the bright white from Sherwin-Williams.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
amazing.
we lost Justin.
We lost Justin.
I'm gonna keep you guys on
had
here though. I'm gonna
technical
make you guys.
difficulties. But we're gonna wrap things up anyways. Shout out to the sponsors, all you guys. Chris from BNS, 217 Python, Static Morphs, RGI, the Chipper, Coco to Go, Big D's, Pythons and Geckos, and positive energy, guys. Just keep a smile on your face, and bring positivity around you. And that's a beautiful snake. What is that?
This is Blackhead Black Pastel. I'm sorry. I'm going on a rant. This is Blackhead Leopard Cinnamon Clown Het Pied.
I got a black pastel leopard and a Mojave possible trick. I think trick might be in there. That looks pretty similar to that. And I think the trick's wonking it up, just like the blackhead is.
Yeah, the trick will do that for sure.
And it's a female, and it's het hypo. So
damn. So I'm gonna take her to. Well, I got the hypo triple het ultra male clown pied, obviously. So that's probably gonna be the plan. Is go for clown pied combos with blackhead cinnamon leopard. That'll be 100% hypo, 50% het ultra male. That's my plan with her.
Heck yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Hopefully get some real dark clown pieds that are double hets. Because that an ultra male clown pied with hypo?
What?
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Stay positive, my friends. Always invite positivity. Push your
Thank
way.
you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully I dropped some gems
Appreciate
for everybody.
you guys in the chat. Go over on IG and look old Jared up from.
For sure, Tommy, for sure. We'll see you this weekend,
Very
brother.
knowledgeable. Glad to have you on the show, Jared. Had a good time tonight. Got my brain going.
Too bad. It's too bad that
next time,
it
y'all.
didn't go longer.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Thursday
you got
we're
the
on
Blackhead
the
boy,
RWO
Will?
show.
Hold on a second.
Channel. Wait, we'll hold.
All right, because Will got
Bonus
the Blackhead boy from Ashley, so it was a giveaway snake that I won, and I said that he could take it. Or I said whoever comments that they want it, just pay the shipping and they could have the boy. So I actually got the girl in today.
Bonus footage, guys. Bonus footage.
Hold on a second here. Deal with her. Let's get what's going all behind stuff.
I just moved my snakes around and did some organizing. And now, like today, when I was spot cleaning, it was like I put myself in a panic because I couldn't find one of them. But I did. The last minute, Jack.
It's funny because I'm like, what did I do over there? But no, she should be right over here. There she is. Found her, Will.
You always find her. Just gotta take a minute.
I don't have her labeled or nothing, so you got the blackhead double het hypo clown. I was supposed to get a blackhead female double het hypo clown, but I ended up getting a hypo blackhead female double het clown.
Nice.
So I was just excited. I didn't realize that Will was the one that got her brother. So congrats on that.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, I won't hold you no more.
We appreciate you, Jared. Thank you for coming on tonight. Very interesting show. Very knowledgeable. if you ever want to just come on and shoot the shit, on Thursdays we go 2 to 3 hours. So
okay.
we keep the Tuesday show on for about an hour, maybe a little over. Sometimes we get some bonus footage. But yeah, if you ever want to come on the Thursday show, the RWO show, we're on Vance's channel this weekend. You're more than welcome. I mean, I just enjoy learning, and you're very knowledgeable. We appreciate it for sure, 100%.
For sure, no problem.
Chat. We'll see you next time. See you Thursday.
Everybody have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.